everyone, and welcome to another storytime video. I haven't done one of these in a couple of weeks, but I thought that this one would be a really interesting one because it's a really random story actually. And a few of you, kind of when I mentioned that I was going to do this, said that you would like to hear the story. So I was basically hospitalised a few years ago. So I want to say, how old was I? I was 18, nearly 19. When this happened, and I'm going to be 24 in a second, so it was, a few years ago. And I was hospitalised for what they thought at the time was dehydration. I won't go into the kind of whole ins and outs of that because that's for another story. But I had been, I wasn't hospitalised near where I live, it was quite far away. Circumstances of why I was there or whatever belong to a different story. But they thought I was dehydrated, so I was taken to the emergency room and they'd put me on a drip. And they kept trying to take my, take loads of kind of vital readings or whatever. And the guy that was assigned to do this was a male nurse. Young-ish guy, probably like in his 30s, attractive enough. Not that I was remotely interested, had a boyfriend at the time, same boyfriend I have now. And he kept coming back to do the test, and then he had to do a kind of heart reading, the one where they put all the is it an ECG or an EKG? I can't remember, one of those anyway. He had to do that. So you have to take your top off. So I took my top off and he was doing it, and I wasn't bothered at all. He was like a doctor, it was fine. And he did this test a couple of times and he kept saying, your readings are really weird. Something's wrong with this machine. So he took that machine away and came back with another one, and then he did it again and he was like, your reading's really weird. Your heart beat is just really kind of erratic and slow. And then explained that it was something to do with what your rate should be when you were resting, and mine was a lot lower than that. So then I got taken to another unit where it was the cardio unit, because they were trying to figure out what was wrong. And it was really scary and stressful because I'm someone who, the worst I've ever had is a cold. Touch wood, I've never had an operation, I've never had anything wrong with me. I hardly ever go to the doctors, never been hospitalised. So it was really scary. And I went there, and then the male nurse had gone, and the doctors were just doing loads of different tests and all sorts of things like that. And then the next morning my phone rang, my mobile phone, and it was a number I didn't recognise, so I pick up and I was like, hi, and this voice is like, hi, my name's whatever his name was, I don't actually even remember what his name was, the male nurse from yesterday. And I was like, oh, hi. And he was like, yeah, I was just phoning to see how you were and what unit you were in, so I could just come and say hi to you. I feel kind of responsible because I sort of discovered that you had this thing, which then later on we discovered that the thing that I had was basically I had a hole in my heart, which is not, that uncommon, and it wasn't that much of a big deal anyway. But he was like, could I come and visit you? Now by this point I kind of didn't think anything was weird about it. I thought he just meant it from a medical perspective, so I was like, yeah, sure. So then a few hours later, it was getting late, it was kind of towards the evening, and he came into the room and he asked how I felt and everything, and that was fine. And then he sort of sat on my bed and we were chatting, and we were just chatting about sort of casual normal stuff and everything. And then he'd been in the room for probably about an hour, and I was getting tired and I wanted to go to sleep. So I sort of said I sort of yawned and did that, I'm really tired now, I think I'm going to go to sleep. And he was like, oh right, okay, yeah, sure. And I was sat on the hospital bed, talking to him. I had sort of my legs crossed and I was sat, because we were just chatting, and he was sat on the edge of the bed, and I sort of had my foot by there, because I was sat with my legs sort of crossed. And he, this is just so creepy, he kind of reached over and started feeling my foot, and he was going like that on my foot. And I kind of sat there thinking, what is he doing? What's up with this? And then I started thinking, oh my god, was I giving him vibes that I was interested, because I'm not? What's going on? So I moved my leg, and then just as that happened, the nurse came in and told him that it was getting late and he was going to have to leave. And he was like, okay. So he got up and he went. And then 2 minutes later, my phone went, and he had sent me a text message saying like, oh, it was so nice to talk to you and to spend time with you, you know, I hope we can do it again, I really like you. I had told him that I had a boyfriend, like we'd talked about it, and I just didn't reply. I thought, oh, whatever, I'm going to pretend like I went to sleep. Then the next day, I was still in hospital, and he came back again in the morning and sat on the bed, and I don't know why I didn't just tell him to just get lost. It was just one of those like weird things where I wasn't quite sure what was going on, and I'm just not good in these types of situations. And he sat on the bed, and then he sort of reached over and started going like that on my hand. So I moved my hand, and I just sort of said like, that's not gonna happen. Like, you know, I told you I've got a boyfriend, it's not gonna happen. And he was like, that's okay, and then sort of took my hand out again and started going like that, and he was like, I don't mind, and was going like that. So I just moved my hand again, and I was just sort of like, I'm not comfortable with what you're doing. And he was like, oh, okay. And then the nurse came in, and she had to do some checkups, and he left. But he kept phoning me and texting me all of the time, and I didn't respond. And then I'm thinking about it now, and I'm like, I should have probably told one of the doctors what he was doing, because that was inappropriate. But I didn't think of it. And how he had my phone number to begin with was he must have taken it from my medical records. So he must have looked through them and like written it down on his phone or something. I don't know. It's really, really weird. And then he kept phoning me and kept phoning me. I'd been released from hospital by that point, but I had to go and have a couple more exams. And he kept phoning, and then I kind of thought, well, I'll take one of his calls and just be like, hi, I was really busy or whatever, because I had like a medical question about one of the tests I needed to do that I kind of wanted to run by him, which was stupid of me, but I did that anyway. And I asked him, and he sort of like gave me an answer. But then that was it. He wouldn't stop texting me, and then it like started being where he would send me like pictures of himself and all sorts of weird things. And I wish I had this like dramatic ending to this story. I don't. What actually happened in the end was I just ignored him, and he went away eventually. It took sort of like 2 or 3 weeks, but he went away. And it was just so bizarre. Like, I think about it now, and I was sat on that hospital bed, okay, and I must have looked like shit as well, because I hadn't showered for like a day and a half. I had my hair in a bun. I was in the hospital pajamas, like no makeup on. It wouldn't have been good. And he was like feeling my hand and feeling my leg, and it was so creepy. He was sort of going like that. It's not funny. It's like, it is actually harassment, isn't it? But it was just bizarre. If it happened to me now, I think my reaction would have been a lot different, but at the time I didn't really know what to do. And I sort of like mentioned, I mentioned about it, I think, to the nurse, and she was like, oh, right, okay, I'll pass that on then. But nothing ever came from it, nothing ever happened, so that was that. But yeah, that's my story about the creepy male nurse. And he'd just send me like really weird, creepy pictures of himself and things. It was very strange. But yeah, maybe I should have reported it, because like, oh, I'm kind of thinking about it now, and it's like, what if he was doing that to other people? But I don't know. I think he was just a bit of a weirdo. Like, I don't think it was anything more than that. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed this storytime video, as enjoyable as it was, kind of a bit weird. But I will love you and leave you now, and I will be back with another storytime video soon. Apologies for how my hair looks. Like I said, it's been rained on, whatever. Yeah, but I hope you enjoyed this, and I will see you all in my next video. And yeah, let me know if you want to see more storytime videos. Bye.